Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about when a breakup leaves you feeling devastated. Okay, so if you're going through a typically rough time, you're going through a particularly rough time rather, then what I suggest that you give yourself is time. Like, time is the most important thing that is going to help you here, okay? So throughout my life, I've gone through different circumstances, like, when a crisis hits, basically. Because, with life, right, you have a crisis and then you have a time where nothing really happens, and then you have another crisis, and then you have a period where nothing happens for a while. And that's how life is. So a crisis could be a financial crisis. A crisis could be a loss of a loved one, and you're going through a grieving period. Another sort of crisis is if that's, say, perhaps you're homeless for a little while or something else like that, where you have something that completely shakes up your world, like a huge change, like perhaps you need to move and you don't want to move, but you have to move. Let's say like you're renting a place and the landlord wants the property back. So you have to really find a new place to live really quickly. Or it could be that you get made redundant from your job and you have to find a new job really quickly so you can pay the bills. These are all what are considered crises, right, in someone's life. So having a relationship breakdown is another one of those kinds of crises. And when we go through that and we don't want it to happen, so you didn't want this breakup to happen, it can put you into a depression. It can make you feel really awful about yourself. And it can really, shake up your world and shake up, because it makes a lot of change. Like, let's say if you were living with them and then suddenly you had to go and find somewhere new to live, or you had to go back and live with your parents or something like that, and you feel embarrassed that you have to do that. All these kinds of things can happen, but it shakes up your world. Like, you may lose a lot of friends, especially if you had a lot of mutual friends with your ex, and they decide that they want to continue being friends with your ex and no longer want to be friends with you. It really can shake up your world, especially if it was with someone that you was with for a very long time. So what you need is time. You need lots and lots of time, because what I've seen with people that go through a crisis, and it doesn't matter what kind of crisis it is that they feel that they should be feeling a lot better sooner. That's what the main thing that I see. So what I want to let you know, and what I really want you to ingrain into you, is that it's okay to feel like crap if you're going through a crisis, okay? Because this is what this is. Like, if you're devastated by a breakup, it means you're still feeling that crisis. And if you're in a crisis, it's okay to feel like crap because you're in a crisis, okay? So if you've been broken up with someone for a while, and you still feel really hurt about it, it's normal to feel that way, okay? Now, it may seem like, it's like, again, it comes back to sometimes with social media. Like, you look on social media and it seems like people can get over their exes super fast. They get into that new relationship, or they're just posting all the time and it seems like they're happy and everything's fine. But with social media though, it's all a highlight reel. You don't know what's really going on. Like, an example that I use is, when a couple, let's say, go on holiday to Bali, you only see the photos, the good photos of, them being in the pool, them being happy in the sunshine. You don't see them waiting 12 hours at an airport, right? You don't see them having a fight with the flight attendant about the seating arrangements or whatever. You don't see that. You only see the highlights, right? You only see the photos of Bali, right? You don't see all the other grueling stuff that's going on. So that may help if you avoid social media for a while. A lot of the time, people are going through a lot more than what you realize. Like, literally, social media and things like that, even not in social media, even when you go into work and you see a bunch of people that you work with, all those colleagues that you have, what you see with them is only the tip of the iceberg. You don't really know the depth of what they are going through. And sometimes, because we don't see the depth of what other people are going through, it can seem like everyone has a great life and everyone's happy, everyone's content, everyone's getting along with things. Everyone's way ahead of you than what because perhaps you feel like, oh, everyone's getting on with their life and I'm so far back. But you don't know what's going on in their life. And you've got to feel that way about yourself sometimes. It's okay to be having a lot of trouble and to be having a crisis like this and to be feeling rubbish about yourself. And guess what? Most of the population also have really big troubles that they are worried about every single day, and it's all that they think about. So don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to how fast someone can get over their ex. Don't compare yourself to someone who seems like they're living a brilliant life, right? Better than yours, maybe, that you see, that you think, but you don't know actually what's really going on with them. You know, it's like you see with like celebrities, you know, people that you would think have absolutely everything in the world. And then, you know, it seems like they've got the whole world, you know, at their feet, basically. And then suddenly a big story comes out and you realize that they're in rehab, or they're an alcoholic, you know, because they're an alcoholic, or they've gone through a horrible divorce, or they've lost custody of their children, you know. And so you never know. Even if people look like they're having a great time, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's actually happening. Okay, so it's okay to feel like crap. Okay, because a lot of the time, the most of the population feels that way as well about themselves. So give yourself time. You just need time to heal and to get over it. It's okay not to be over it. It's okay to still feel the sting of what's happening to you, of what's happened to you. Right? And some days you're going to have better days than others. Some days you're going to feel fine. You're going to feel motivated. And then the next day you may feel totally and utterly depressed. Right? It's just the ebbs and flows of life. And some days are just simply better than others. But the more time that goes on, the more better you will feel. Right? And don't expect yourself to get over it instantly, and be kind to yourself and realize that you're not going to get over it really fast, right? You're not going to get over an ex within a month. You're not going to get over, you might not even get over an ex within the first year of breaking up with them. So you've got to give yourself time, right? And it may take a while, right? You have to accept that. But as more time passes, the less intense you will feel about the situation. And that is something I can guarantee, as long as you're not doing anything to keep you stuck in place, right? So by keeping yourself stuck in place, I mean you keep on looking back at old photos, you keep on overanalyzing old messages that you two had, you keep on checking their social media pages, you keep on listening to that playlist of love songs that make you remind you of them, or perhaps there's a sad song that you often listen to when you're thinking about your ex. So stop doing all of those things, because that kind of stuff gets you back to that place. It kind of anchors you back to that state of feeling. Okay, so that will help as well if you avoid doing things like that. Because if there's a song that perhaps you listen to a lot around the breakup, if you listen to that 6 months down the line, it's going to take you back to those old feelings almost instantly, right? It's going to take you back to that place, which is why you want to avoid doing that. You want to avoid all of those habits that are involved with you thinking about your ex and the things that you do when you think about your ex, right? So you want to avoid all that, and that won't keep you back at square one. So you need more time, essentially. Okay? So obviously another thing that can really help you with this kind of thing is if you find someone eventually better than your ex. It may be they're better looking than your ex, and they treat you better than your ex. If you can find someone like that, I can guarantee it that you won't care as much about your ex. You may still think about them from time to time. You might still think, what if? But if you find someone who you are way more attracted to, and they treat you better, and let's say you have amazing time in the bedroom as well, more amazing than what you did with your ex, you will forget about them pretty quickly, and you'll start to feel better pretty quickly as well too. But obviously it's not a good idea to go from one relationship straight into another. So if it's been a long time since you broke up with your ex, then maybe, yeah, you can start dating. But if it's only been a couple of days or a few weeks, then I recommend giving yourself a little bit more time. Okay? So another thing that can help as well is if you fill in your knowledge gaps about relationships and dating. And perhaps you know, you feel like, oh yeah, I don't understand the opposite sex at all. I don't understand how their brain works. I don't understand any of that kind of stuff. You know, I really don't get my ex. I don't get, you know, the opposite sex in general. I don't understand them. So I recommend that you fill in your knowledge gaps in that kind of thing. So one of the ways you can do that is there's a bunch of books that I recommend my viewers. And you'll be able to find that link down in the description of this video. And basically, one of the main books that I think will really help with understanding the opposite sex is Men Are From Mars and Women From Venus. Now, you can go and look at those books, but you don't have to purchase any if you don't want to. You could just write down all the titles and go to your local library and try and get them. You can do that. But they're there if you want to have a look at those and have like a bit of a guide of what can help you. And 5 of those books are dating and relationship books, and the other 5 are to do with personal success, personal achievement, and things like that. So I highly recommend those books. And if I could download all of that information and put them into my clients and my viewers' brains, I really would, because I feel like it would solve so many of those problems to do with your relationships, dating, and obviously personal success and personal achievement. Okay, so that can really help. But for specifically figuring out and trying to understand the opposite sex, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus will help with that. And also there's so many different case studies in there which are really beneficial and really interesting to read and check out. So there's a quote that I really love by Steve Jobs. And he made this address at Stanford. You can find it on YouTube. Just type in Steve Jobs Stanford address. And he said in one of these, he said in this address that he did, you can only connect the dots looking back. And what that means is that sometimes we go through a lot of crap, or we go through a lot of strange circumstances that may seem like just horrible events or just random events. But when you look back on them, like let's say like 10 years down the line, you actually see that this is exactly what you were supposed to go through. This was exactly what was meant for you. And you may not understand it at this point now, but when you're older, like in about 10 years, maybe even 5 years, you'll start to be able to see, yeah, maybe this was exactly what was supposed to happen to me for my next evolution in life. Okay? So that's some hope for you there, that one day this will all make sense, especially if you are really, really struggling with this breakup. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you would like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.